Hi everyone, it's Nicole Spohr and welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to share 3 Lift Ink floral background cards using the Simon Says Stamp Mother's Day card kit. This was a limited edition exclusive card kit from Simon Says Stamp. As far as I know, it is still available. I had not had projects when it originally came out. My package from Simon Says Stamp was lost, and we kind of kept thinking it would show up, and it never ever showed up. So a few days ago, they overnighted this to me, and I went ahead and created some projects with it because it really is a beautiful kit. And I'm going to share not only a Mother's Day card today, but also some other cards you can create with components from the kit. I am using a lot of things from the kit. The base of all of my cards today are going to be these Lift Ink backgrounds, and I am going to go ahead and create those backgrounds first. So during the video, I am going to tell you when a product is from the kit. Right now, I'm using the 3 sheets of Yupo cardstock that come in the kit. And I'm going to be creating some backgrounds with the 3 alcohol inks that also come in the kit. These are in Shell Pink, Willow, and Cloudy Blue. I am also using some blending solution that I have on hand. The beautiful brass kind of pinata alcohol ink that I just love adding to projects. This is probably my favorite as far as metallics go. This is from my personal stash, and I'm just using the little pipette tool to add a little bit of metallic to this, which is going to play in to the larger part of the die cut sentiment that I'll be adding in a bit. I'm using Tim Holtz's blower tool here to move the inks around, as well as the blending solution. This is the first background I created. I am only using Willow and Cloudy Blue as far as color goes. And then the blending solution, and then the brass. I'm going to go ahead and move that one aside while I work on the second one. Now, also included in the kit is an alcohol ink applicator and felt pads. Now, and the alcohol lift ink, but I haven't used that yet. This is the tool, the applicator tool and felt. I originally applied Willow and Cloudy Blue to that, and I created a striped background. Absolutely nothing wrong with the striped background. Honestly, I left it like this for a long time. I let it dry while I worked on my third background, and I really thought I would use it. I will tell you, if you use the lift ink technique with this background, it's going to be a lot more crisp. You'll get a much better, I hate to say better, but you'll get a much more crisp result. I just didn't really jive with the background, I'll be honest. I like it. I like creating these striped backgrounds, but I really like the organic look a little bit better. It just depends on the project, and when I went with the other direction with the other 2 backgrounds, I just chose to alter this one. But I'm going to leave it because I wanted you to see what you can do with components from the kit, as well as how I didn't scrap that background. I'm actually just going to cover it up with additional alcohol ink. So for this one, you can see I put some blending solution on the Yupo paper first, and I'm starting with a pretty heavy dose of Cloudy Blue, and we're going to break out the Shell Pink for this one. I really liked kind of keeping the colors to just 2 different colors. The pink and the blue definitely give a little bit of a purple vibe in certain places, so that's fun. And I ended up really loving how these worked together, and I opted not to add any of the willow green color in. I like for the brass to really move around, so sometimes I need to add some more blending solution or whatever to that to get the look that I want. I add extra color in here and there if I feel like it gets a little too watered down. And then if the circle shape is just too perfect, I really like to go ahead and go in and add more blending solution, move that ink around as much as I can with this blowing tool, which I think if you use alcohol inks, that tool is invaluable. I used to use a straw to do that, and it was just a lot of work. I really love this little tool. I think it's fantastic. So there is my second background. I actually really, really love that. So there are those two backgrounds that are more organic. I decided this one, again, too perfect. It's really pretty. I don't mind anything about it, and I think if I was doing a different type of project, I'd like it a little bit better, or even if I die cut a large sentiment or shape from it. But I decided to just kind of put a heavy dose of blending solution over the Yupo cardstock background and start adding color. I added more of the cloudy blue, more of the willow. We're going to move that around. You'll notice in like the corners, you're still seeing some of that stripe, which I don't think really goes with this. And I will fix that in a little bit. I kind of work on one little area, one problem at a time, I guess. But there's really no right and wrong here. Every background is going to be different, and just have fun with it. And I think one of the things I love most about alcohol inks is the forgiveness. If you don't like something, you can pretty much just add some blending solution and wipe it off, or rubbing alcohol and wipe it off, or cover it up. And that's what I'm doing here, because the ink underneath is moving as well as the ink on top. So it's really disguising the fact that there was some stripe there before. And then of course I added a little bit of brass to this, so it'll have a bit of that shimmer to it that I just love. Still seeing those stripes though in some of the corners, so I'm going to start adding in a little bit more blending solution as I'm moving around this ink. This panel by far is not going to have the white space, and that's simply because I already had done something different to that background. So here I added a pretty heavy dose of blending solution to the corner. I'm keeping it fairly light, but you can see that moving those inks around now in the bottom left corner as well, to disguise the fact that there was that really definite stripe in the background. And I love it. I think it turned out really, really pretty. So don't be afraid to just keep trying, keep moving things around to get your background the way you want it to look. So once I kind of have that all done, I am going to lift these up. I like to use some tweezers generally, keep my fingers out of it as much as possible. And I'm going to clean my work surface really well. I will tell you, I did use rubbing alcohol. I generally do use rubbing alcohol to kind of help clean everything up before I move on to the next step. And that is the lift ink technique. If you have not tried the lift ink technique, it is so much fun. And getting everything in a kit like this gives you the chance to maybe play with it and see if it's something you like. So what I like to do is I always use a MISTI for this. And you are going to apply the lift ink to the stamp. In this case, we're using the tall image from the Beautiful Mothers 6x8 stamp set included in the kit. And I'm using some nice firm pressure with this. I'm using the Stamper's Secret tool to get a nice impression. I will tell you as well, my other big tip for this is I always stamp the image twice. So I've stamped it once, and you can see that lift ink is starting to work. I have a dry, clean rag. I know it doesn't look like it. This microfiber cloth has seen better days. I do wash them. It's just stained, but it's dry. There is nothing on it at all. And I dab up the excess ink first, and then I use kind of semi-firm pressure to remove any excess. You can see the shape of the stamp design, but not really well. And this is where I was talking about with the striped background. You would definitely get a lot better results, especially the lift ink is not going to play with the metallic alcohol inks at all. You're not going to get lift there. So there will be some areas. I don't mind that, but I did want to mention that just so you guys know. And so I end up, you clean the stamp. You want to clean the stamp between stamping the two images because it's going to lift that ink color off of the background and keep it on the stamp. So I always clean it and then I stamp it again. By stamping it again, you can see that already more of the ink was removed. It was lifted away and you're getting a much better stamped image. Again, I dabbed up the excess ink and then buffed it to get rid of any excess, and you can see the pretty floral background in the, or the floral design in the background, which is really, really fun. So we're gonna do a little bit different technique or stamp, I guess, not technique, a different stamp for the more full color background that I just fixed, where I am using kind of that arc shape, and I made sure and positioned it high enough that when we flip this panel around, it's going to stamp along the bottom. So we're stamping at the top and the bottom without removing the stamp. I'm doing the same thing as before, where I've stamped the image once. I am dabbing away any excess ink, and then I am buffing away any of the remaining lift ink off the surface, cleaning my stamp, and then I'm going to stamp that again. So I've inked the image back up. I'm using my Stamper's Secret tool to help me get some nice firm pressure without killing my hands right there, and instantly you can see you get much better results. You could even stamp this again if you wanted to. It's really up to you. I generally find stamping it twice gives me the look that I'm going for. So there's a really pretty floral kind of garland there, if you will, and I'm going to flip my paper around. I haven't even removed my stamp. Ink it up again. I did clean it. And we're going to stamp that on the second half of the panel. And you can see the lift ink starting to work. We're going to dab the excess away, clean our stamp, and stamp it again. I just try to use a different corner of my microfiber cloth when I am doing this so that I'm not rubbing excess lift ink all over the surface of my project. In fact, I think I switched cloths partway through here just to double and kind of triple check. I didn't want to ruin my background and ruin the stamping. So we'll stamp that one more time. And then of course for the third background, I'm going back to that same image that we just used. You're going to get a little bit different result, I think, with this one. The colors I chose for the background are a little bit different. The pinks and the blues, so that's fun as well. But look at this, isn't that so pretty? Kind of as that lift ink is starting to dry or whatever, and you remove any of the excess, you're getting a beautiful result. I just love that little shadowy floral garland there on the card. Almost a wreath now. So here is that third and final background, the pink and blue one with the brass in it. A lot of white space here. I've tried to pick the area of the background that had the most ink in it. We're going to stamp this image again. I didn't use the corner image from the Beautiful Mother stamp set because I didn't think it went on the last background. I did try to use it. I played with it off camera. And then on this one, there wasn't enough ink in a corner so that I would see a really good corner design. It just wasn't working for my backgrounds. So always kind of keep that in mind when you're working with lift inks. What stamped image and the placement of the image is going to get you the most bang for your buck, where you're going to be able to see that beautiful ghosted outline. Stamping it one more time, giving it nice firm pressure. And then just dabbing up that excess and buffing that away. And look how pretty. Such a really, really fun technique. I haven't used it in a while, so it was kind of fun to revisit it. Now I am doing something else I haven't done in a while, and we're going to play with some foil. So in the kit, we're actually getting 5 sheets of the ThermoWeb gold foil. I have some of this great toner cardstock at home, here in my stash, and I die cut several sentiments from the toner paper, and I'm going to take one of these sheets of gold foil and run it through my Mink machine to foil the die cuts. So these are going to be the big die cut on each card. It's really going to draw that brass color that we used in the alcohol ink on each of these alcohol lift ink backgrounds by having this nice big bold sentiment. I am using the mom and dad sentiment, the big friend sentiment, and I know I used beautiful here on camera. I actually switched that out because I didn't like that one on the card I picked for it. I'm going to save it for another project, and then I foiled You the Best off of camera, and I'm going to use that one instead. So again, it's just one of those things. It probably doesn't matter that much. I just didn't like how the shadow covered up so much of the design. I could have used the word beautiful without it, but that wasn't really what I was going for. Here is my next step. I did everything very assembly line style today, but I'm going to also say it's not my next step and my next misstep. So I am stamping sentiments from the Beautiful Mothers stamp set, as well as the Inside Friendship Messages stamp set. And I'm using some of the Craft Consortium Bloom and Wild 6x6 paper included in the kit. And I loved this green. I stamped all of my sentiments on it. I was like, I'm going to use this on all of my cards. You guys are probably already knowing what went wrong. One of my cards doesn't even have green alcohol ink on it. I don't know what I was thinking. I was thinking I was doing so good with my assembly line style card making today. Yeah, the green sentiment looks terrible on the pink and blue card. So the thinking of you friend sentiment, while I literally got clear to the die cutting these strips before I was like, oh my gosh, just bang myself in the forehead, like not thinking. So I ended up grabbing some of the blue pattern paper from the kit because the front sides of these papers all have beautiful like florals and greenery, and they're gorgeous pattern papers. But the back side, and if you guys remember this from my scrapbooking days, if you've been around for a while, I'm a B-side scrapbooker. I love the back sides because they look like watercolored backgrounds. They're gorgeous. Both sides are beautiful, but I'm always a little bit more drawn to the more simple, I guess, or tone-on-tone designs. And I went ahead and stamped so the green and then the blue. And then right now I'm taking the Bouquet for Mom stamp set from the recent Simon Says Stamp All the Feels release, which I love. I've used these butterflies on another card, but we're stamping them on vellum and embossing in white. And I just did this on two sides of the vellum. There's 4 butterflies in this stamp set, so I stamped 8 butterflies, and then I can die cut them all, and we're going to scatter them throughout the 3 cards. So 2 of the cards will have 3 butterflies and 1 will have 2, but it really doesn't make a huge difference. So here's my little blue sentiment. I went ahead and fixed that off camera since I boogered that up, but green was not looking good on it. And then I am going to go ahead and assemble everything. So the Craft Consortium Bloom and Wild pattern paper for the strips were die cut with the sentiment labels dies from my stash. The white cardstock for the background, the shadow for each of the big sentiments, also from the kit. I'm checking everything off of my list because I wanted to make sure and note to you guys what all I used. Remember that the sentiments were foiled with the Thermo Web gold foil, also in the kit. Great opportunity to play with some foil. And then we used our alcohol lift ink pad. And then the final thing is I used the Audrey Blue envelope included in the kit to pair up with one of these cards. The rest of my envelopes I did grab from my stash. You're getting an Audrey Blue and a white standard A2 size envelope in the kit, and then like a cotton pink mini slimline envelope. I just didn't like the white envelope paired with these cards because there's so much white to them already. And I'm actually going to do something different with my envelope, so definitely stay tuned to my channel or my Instagram. I haven't decided if I'll do a video on it yet. I may just post it to Instagram, where I'm going to show you some envelope decorating techniques with other components from the kit. There is a stencil in the kit that I absolutely love, so yes, it's going to be some stenciling fun. I am adhering my little sentiment labels here, die cut labels, with some foam adhesive. And then I'm just using a little liquid glue to adhere the foiled die cut sentiment to the white background. I did also forget to tell you guys, I did trim down these backgrounds. So they are all A2 sized, which is great and probably would have been fine, but I decided I thought that matting them on my card base might look the nicest, so I trimmed them to 4 by 5¼ inches. And then I am feeding all of these vellum butterflies through a Xyron sticker maker. Vellum is not forgiving when you're adding it to a project and you don't have a great way to hide the fact that, or hide the adhesive. And for these, I don't have a great way to hide the adhesive. There's nothing on top of them. There's no solid cardstock piece on top or anything like that. And so I need to find an adhesive that's going to not show a huge glob of glue behind. This little Xyron sticker maker works so fantastic for that. I don't use it that often, but when I need a nice even coating of adhesive on something, it works so great for vellum. So I use it a lot if I have a project like that with vellum where I can't hide the adhesive any other way. I ran it through. I'm going to remove the backing sheet, and now let's just put the rest of our cards together. I think I went ahead and already adhered my sentiment strips and die cut greetings to the first 2 cards. We're going to put our big friend right in the center of our wreath shape. We'll pop up our little sentiment strip underneath. I love that. And you can see how I took components from what is called a Mother's Day kit, and I was able to extend the life of the kit very easily by just switching out the sentiments. You could just as easily, if you've got multiple mom or grandmother cards to make, you could very, very easily just put mom sentiments on all of these. I really just wanted to show the versatility of the floral stamp set. You can use it for anything. A lot of the alcohol inks, of course, can be used for anything. And then just pairing with maybe some things from your craft stash. I'm going to have that little butterfly sitting on the tail of the letter D. I like that. And then I like the white ghosty outline of the butterflies and how it really complements the ghosty lift ink design of the backgrounds. We're going to adhere all of these to white top fold card bases now. You could add some additional embellishing if you want. I kept mine very simple. I wanted to keep it just easy to mail. So they're still fairly flat. There's nothing super bulky on them. You are getting some really cute Tim Holtz heart charms in the kit that you could add if you wanted to. I'm going to pair these with envelopes now, and I just take you right back through all 3 backgrounds, hopefully show you the lift ink a little bit up or more up close maybe. And that is going to be it. Thank you guys so much for joining me today for these Lift Ink Floral Backgrounds cards featuring components from the Simon Says Stamp limited edition exclusive Mother's Day card kit. The supplies I used to create my cards are listed and linked below the video here on YouTube. Here is another video featuring Simon Says Stamp products that you might be interested in. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell to never miss a new card making video. Thank you guys so much for joining me today, and we'll catch you next time.